Former President Trump is not on a primary ballot tomorrow, but his presence will be felt with candidates he's endorsing and others who've become his critics. Wyoming Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney is running for her fourth term in the U.S. House. She's co-chair of the Special House Committee, vice chair. She is vice chair of the Special House Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Cheney will face off against Trump-endorsed candidate Harriet Hageman. A recent University of Wyoming poll shows only 28% of Republican primary voters say they support the Congresswoman's re-election. 57% say they support Hageman. Over the next 2 days, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is fundraising in Jackson, Wyoming. And that is where we find NBC senior national politics reporter John Allen standing by. John, let me ask you about Congresswoman Cheney's re-election bid. Here's a part of her closing message, one of her late campaign ads. Watch.
This is Donald Trump's legacy, but it cannot be the future of our nation. History has shown us over and over again how these types of poisonous lies destroy free nations.
John, talk about the former president's presence in this race and how the Congresswoman is trying to counteract it for another term.
This race has been completely run, JJ, on the axis of Donald Trump and Liz Cheney fighting over national politics, over the future of the Republican Party and the future of the Republic itself. She has not looked to run a local race here, as you saw from the ad. She's running on these themes that you hear her talking about in Washington, about January 6th, about the danger that she sees in Donald Trump and Trumpism. And, of course, we're looking forward to see what her next move is, because most folks here think she has not run a race with the intention of winning. In fact, I spoke to a Republican county commission candidate today who said nobody would piss off without voting for something else.
Let me ask you about the opponent, Harriet Hageman. Here she is in May alongside the former president. Watch.
We're fed up with the January 6th Commission and those people who think that they can gaslight us. And we're fed up with Liz Cheney. We are putting everyone on notice. As of November 8th, we're taking our country back.
John, tell us more about Harriet Hageman. What should we know about her?
You should know that she used to be a Liz Cheney supporter and that she has gone, whole hog for Trump, and that's basically what happened here. There were a number of candidates who thought they might be able to get a Trump endorsement. Harriet Hageman was the one who did, and she has attached herself completely to him. And if you were going to do that anywhere in the country, this is the place to do it. Donald Trump won Wyoming by a 43-point margin in the 2020 the 2020 presidential election. This is the biggest margin that he had across the country. And, there are some crossover Democrats here in Wyoming, but I was looking at registration numbers today. Just aren't very many of them. This is a supermajority Republican state. And that's why Hageman attaching herself to Trump has been such a boon for her.
Liz Cheney is a conservative Republican. She's a Cheney, for God's sakes. There's nothing about her that is not in the mainstream of conventional Republican politics. And yet, to hear Kevin McCarthy speak on Fox News about why he's there and his view of this, it's clear there's a split. Here's part of what he said.
And the principal philosophy is less government, an idea of freedom in the aspect, just the concepts of a country that's conceived in liberty and dedicated the proposition that we're all.
But hasn't she fit that bill over the last several years?
I think her whole focus has been different. Her whole focus has been against one individual, whether she has information or not, instead of focusing on her district itself.
John, I think it's sometimes easy to kind of fall into rabbit holes about what's important in Washington, but Congresswoman Cheney is the vice chair of the January 6th committee. They've got a ton of work they're trying to get done this year. Guarantee there's going to be more to be done next year. And so there's got to be some conversations about what it would mean if she lost and if the party began to shift away from the accountability that she's looking for.
Well, there would only be more to be done next year if Democrats hold the House of Representatives. And if they don't, Kevin McCarthy, the guy you just saw on Fox News, is going to be the one who determines whether there continues to be a January 6th commission. And the reason that I say that is that you've sort of got an option if you're McCarthy, which is to shut it down completely or to turn it into something completely different that chases down all of the fever pitch conspiracy theories that have been circulating around Trump world about January 6th for the last year and a half.
What other issues are at play here? Is the race in Wyoming all about January 6th and President Trump? Are there other issues that people are talking about, or is this really kind of a mini referendum on the Republican Party?
There are no issues here other than Donald Trump versus Liz Cheney. And of course, as you know, there were 10 Republicans who voted for impeachment. 4 of them chose not to run for re-election. 3 of them have lost. 2 of them won their primaries, or at least have advanced the general election. And Liz Cheney, she's the last stop on Donald Trump's revenge tour for impeachment. And that's what this race has been completely about.
Has anyone been coming to her aid in Wyoming? Clearly not the Republican Party, with some members like Kevin McCarthy, but who are the allies of Liz Cheney? Is she kind of running by herself right now, or is anybody supporting her, endorsing her?
Well, what you see is a lot of the old school establishment, moderate Republican Party in Washington has sent checks and folks like that around the country, people who supported her father, people who support that brand of what you and I would consider conservative, traditional Republican politics. She's been labeled a liberal by some in the Republican Party. I don't think by anybody's standards her voting records in Congress suggests that. In fact, she was with Trump 95% of the time or so when he was president. But her support base is those establishment Republicans that are disgusted by Trump. And in addition, some Democrats who believe that what she's done is brave and courageous. Arguably, she's given up more than anybody else in Congress to make this stand, because she was the number 3 Republican in the House on January 6th. And she was booted from that job, which had her on a path to potentially become Speaker of the House of Representatives. So she's paid a price to be in this position, and it'll be interesting to see whether she's able to rebound and turn this into a larger national platform for a debate about who we are as Americans and who the Republican Party is.
And briefly, John, before I got to let you go, Dick Cheney, former vice president, former defense secretary, released an ad in Liz Cheney's support not too long ago. How did that resonate with voters, if at all?
Not at all. It's not surprising to anybody here that Dick Cheney supports his daughter. I think because she is seen as so close to him, I don't think anybody believed that what she was doing in Washington subsequent to January 6th was at odds with what his views were. So I don't think it was a big surprise here on any level that he thought that. Certainly the rhetoric that he used, calling Donald Trump a coward, was very sharp. And anybody who's familiar with Dick Cheney's politics knows that he doesn't do anything soft.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.